Hello and welcome to Alive with Amanda. Today we're going to be talking about why, if your client asks, you should give them their notes. So, as always, I will link some information below about what I'm going to talk about, which is the Open Notes Act. So, there is an act out there that says essentially clients should have access to all of their notes and documentation from their healthcare providers. So I'm not an expert in this, so I will give you my basic understanding and kind of what has happened with this and where things are going and how this impacts your practice. And I am here to tell you that the Open Notes Act doesn't matter if you are insurance-based, you are private pay, you provide super bills, you don't provide super bills. I was reading a lot recently, which inspired this talk about people that are like, well, I don't want to provide a super bill because I don't want insurance companies and this and that and that and this. And this doesn't matter. This act doesn't matter no matter where, like no matter how you practice. And so essentially, this came out either right around COVID or right before COVID. So they didn't fully implement it. So it isn't something that is being monitored or tracked necessarily right now, the same way, like, let's say when the good faith estimate came out, everybody implemented it and made sure that it was like on their website, et cetera, et cetera. And so basically, we as mental health providers will at some point have to really comply with this. And clients will need access within, I think it's 24 hours to their records. Now, I have seen this. My OBGYN already has this system in place. When they write a note, the note automatically gets emailed to me. I can go into my portal and I can see all of my notes. Now, I know that might scare therapists because of the type of work that we do. There is a difference between a psychotherapy note and a progress note. Your clients wouldn't have access to progress notes, but they would have access to psychotherapy notes, intake notes, treatment plans. So I think it's really important that you inform yourself about this, because those of you that don't have an electronic health record are going to be at a disadvantage because it's going to be harder for you to release those records. You cannot withhold records from clients. So if clients ask for things like payment records, notes, et cetera, then you have to release those to your clients. Now, there are some stipulations. You don't have to release things that would be detrimental to the clients. And so that's why it's always important to understand the laws and the rules and understand why your client is asking for this. But eventually what will happen is that all of the electronic health records will get really compliant with this Open Notes Act, where maybe they would automatically send notes to clients when they're written, or clients would just be able to get into the portal and have access to their notes. There's a lot of nuance to that, but I would really, I will post below information about this, but it's really important for us as mental health providers to know what happens in the healthcare space because it impacts us. And so we have an open notes policy in the sense if a client requests their notes, we give them their notes. Now, of course, it depends what the notes are for, like to what extent we release those. If we get a subpoena, obviously we call our liability insurance. But if a client asks for their notes, we absolutely give them their notes. They have access to their notes. We may ask to write a treatment summary for certain things, like if they were submitting it to court or like a life insurance policy. I'm trying to think of some things that might come up. We might do a treatment summary, but basically when we get a notes request, we have all the releases, we have everything that we're supposed to have, we release those notes. Those are the client's notes. They're not our notes. And I know sometimes it's like hard to conceptualize in some ways, or at the very least, a client should have access to all of those notes. We'll talk about some reasons why clients may need access to their notes. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes, who makes it so easy for us to download notes, share notes, do everything we need to do with our clients when it comes to notes requests. And I really appreciate all of the hard work that they do to keep up with all of the laws and rules and just the trends in mental health. That's probably one of my favorite things about TherapyNotes. Like, values-based care is coming. I've talked about this in videos before. They started to put assessments in the electronic health record that you could send your clients, they could fill out. Fantastic, lovely. And it is so great. So if you're looking for an electronic health record that can really help you keep on trend, I highly recommend you check out TherapyNotes. So clients may be requesting notes for court cases. They might be requesting notes for disability. They might be requesting those just because they like to have their records. Sometimes it is important to have your records. You never know why you might need your medical records in the future. And a lot of like meticulous clients keep their medical records. They keep paperwork, especially if they do have, let's say, a more severe mental health diagnosis. Again, they might be going for disability, or they might want to give their next provider their documents. I know I have a medical condition that it was really important for me to have a lot of records around it. And so I always kept records. I always kept everything. So then that way, when I went to a new provider, I'm like, here, I have this. I'm not like making this up, or I'm not, just seeking drugs or something like that. Right. So having a paper trail can be very important. And not everybody wants to have to like call their old provider and remember their names and send all the records. Like they might want to just have them themselves. So I know there might be a lot of fear, like if I give my records to my patient, they give them to the insurance, they might audit me. That, of course, yes, if they want a super bill, that does leave you, at some level in a relationship with the insurance companies, but the clients have the rights to do that. You can't stop that. And so I think it's really important that we are as accessible as possible as mental health professionals and really helping our clients, and knowing that if they're paying private pay and they want to submit to their insurance, they have the ability to do that, and that we reduce our own fear around insurance audits and all of these things to really be in the service of our clients. But please familiarize yourself with the Open Notes Act so you can run your practice appropriately. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you soon, everybody. Bye.